Welcome to the Mechanics Library e-edition, and to the third part of our series entitled History of the Mechanics Library. Today we have a very special interview with the library's co-founder and head librarian, Jack Richert, and we have some questions which we'll hope he'll give us some important answers to. Okay, Mr. Jack. So, first of all, we were wondering, how exactly did the library get founded?
So in late 2018, Grandma said, we should write a book since we are bored. And then 2019, we had about 5 books. 2020, we have 10 books at least. Probably at least 12. We've even gotten special books from visiting authors. And we keep up a correspondence with Mrs. Dorothy Holden.
Wow, that's really cool. Mrs. Dorothy Holden is, after all, over 100, isn't she, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were also wondering about the origin of your name, Mechanics or Micnics Library. Where exactly did that come from? Was that always the name of the library?
It started out as Jack and Grandma's library, but I thought that was too long, so I decided G Library, since Grandma is sort of the main point of it. And then there's this rubble bank in our town, and it got bought out by Mechanics Bank, and I decided, well, that's a nice name, I'll change to it. So we were kind of concerned that we were going to get sued, so we changed it to Micnics Library. Spelled the same way, but doesn't mean the same thing and doesn't say the same thing. It's kind of weird and confusing.
Wow, how intriguing. Could you talk a little bit about where you get the inspiration for your titles?
So, I've been reading different series about forests, like Laura and Mary, and that's inspiring me. And also I like forests and I like nature and stuff like that, so that's what I get the inspiration from.
We know you have a lot of titles such as Mama's Adventures and Jack and Grandma's Adventures in the Forest. Where did you come up with the idea for an adventure story?
Well, we decided since they went to the fair, it's an adventure. And I just wanted to make that name it, and whoever's the aim is in the adventure, they're only listed in the book once or twice.
So we also know that you've had a business with the Pinecone Shop for several years, and that was a very important business in your community, and you had a lot of visitors. So is that still running, or is that stopped, or could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Well, it's sort of closed, mostly for about until 2025. That's, I think, when we're going to have our next video and visitor. Because everybody's came to it, and they probably don't want to, but I think people are going to be coming soon, because they probably have forgotten some of the stuff. But due to the coronavirus, we are pretty much shut down. We're hoping to make some more videos about it. Just if you're interested, just put a request up.
That sounds amazing. Oh, and I had a question about the library and its location in Grandma's room. And could you talk a little bit about some of your basements and sub-basements and all those other interesting things?
So, we had a basement because all the stuff couldn't fit on the top of the cedar chest. And then it got full to the brim. So we got a bigger basement. And then after a while, we started to do drawing lessons. So I put that equipment into the old basement. And I had this other small box that I had, and I put all my some of my art supplies in it and other stuff. And I had this other box that had some of my boxes and yarn and various stuff like that in it. And that's mostly it.
So this is on Grandma's cedar chest, correct?
Yes.
And how does Grandma feel about all this library materials being in her room? Is she okay with that?
He's fine.
That's good. I mean, the rent's probably a lot cheaper when you're in Grandma's room than if you had to rent out a building somewhere else in the town, right?
Yeah, it's actually free.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So we know the library has a lot of programs going, like the library reading program and writing books and then drawing with Grandma and mechanics exercise. Do you have any upcoming programs you're thinking about starting or any plans for the future?
No, we have a good name for our community of various shops. Picnics Leap, and each of the letters from Leap stands for a different thing. I think we're already good right now, and we're probably going to expand with the projects that we already have.
Oh, and I have one more question about mechanics exercise. Could you talk a little bit about how that got founded and what role that has to play in our community?
So, when the coronavirus started, Grandma's exercise thing shut down, and we said, well, how will you do exercise? And then we started to learn exercises until we had a lot of exercises, and then we started to do exercise and we decided to have a video on it.
Well, thank you so much for all the things that you've shared with us. This was so interesting, and we love your entrepreneurial spirit, Jack. In closing, could you share with us a few words for those who would like to either start businesses or improve businesses they already have to reach out to the community around them?
You should always be diligent.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jack Richert, for sharing your valuable time with us, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Thank you.